I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
As a Sea Scout, I promise to do my best to guard against water accidents, to know the location and proper use of life-saving devices on every boat I board, to be prepared to render aid to those in need, and to let those less able come first.
All right. I'd like to welcome everybody tonight. We have a good group of presenters that are going to put out some great information. So we're just going to go ahead and get right into this. Up first, we have Evan Nazareth, the National Bosun, to give us an update on the National Quarterdeck.
Hello, everyone. Hope you all are having a great day. A lot of different updates. So one thing we have the National Quarterdeck and one opportunity the National Quarterdeck has put together and put forth is a thing called the Sea Scout Social. We put this out on Facebook, and it's also on the Sea Scout website under latest news on seascout.org. So be sure to check that out. Basically, what the Sea Scout Social is we have a Google form set up. So if you fill it out, it basically what we'll do is we'll pair two ships together, and the two ships can exchange patches, information, stuff like that. There's more info on it on seascout.org, so be sure to check it out. It's just a good way to connect two ships together, get an opportunity to network, have Zoom meetings, or just do whatever you really want to do just to connect with other ships. So it's just a cool opportunity there. Another thing that we have going on is a lot of people requested to maybe have an event recap form to like showcase different events that they had. So if you held like a rendezvous and wanted it featured on cscout.org or other platforms, you could fill out that form. And that is on the Sea Scout website as well. I'm gonna have Sean, after I finish talking, send the links for all of this in the chat, and also send links for this after the meeting so you can look at these more in depth. Additionally, uh, Winterfest is coming up February 9th through the 11th in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And that's a really big event for venturers, explorers, and Sea Scouts. So be sure to check that out if you're around that area. It's going to be a lot of fun. Most of the National Quarterdeck is going to be there, along with the National Adventuring Officers Association. It's going to be a really fun time. Um, Overall, we have the Sea Scout Times, which is a newsletter, also under latest news. And we have a lot of different information in that, and it also features some of the quartermasters that have been recognized over past month for each newsletter. And one other event we have coming up around the end of January to February, hosted by Capital Area Council, is the National Virtual Sea Scout Academy. That is going to be a really exciting event. We have a lot of great presenters for it and guest speakers. We have the national chief coming to that as well. And the National Virtual Sea Scout Academy focuses on rank advancement. So if you have youth in your ships that are interested in looking for advancement opportunities for apprentice, ordinary, able, or quartermaster, be sure to have them sign up. Um, Additionally, we have a trimester report that focuses on what the NQD has done over the first 4 months of the term, so June to September. That's going to be published soon. And National Quarterdeck applications for next year are coming up soon, so be sure to have your youth apply if they want to help further grow and support the Sea Scout program. And that's the NQD update.
Awesome, thank you. Also, there should be an option to have post any questions that you may have for any of the presenters, right, Peter?
Yeah, it's down there. It says Q&A.
All right. So if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to post them in there, and we'll work on getting them answered for you. All right, Evan, thank you.
You.
All right, up next we have Tom Trefney to talk about recharter and fees.
All righty. Sean, you seeing this?
Yes.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Talk a little bit about membership, rechartering, and fees. Just on the fee topic, I'll keep it short. Here's the list of fees that are national, set by national. The program fee is for all scouts, regardless of their age, and you can see some of the increases that have happened over the last year. I will note that some councils might assess a higher fee, and they do that because it's their way of collecting and compensating for friends of scouting and things like that to help them with their finances. Check your council's site; they have the latest. And the other thing to note is fees are one time, no matter how many units the scout is in. So if they're already in a troop, they can join a ship for free or vice versa. So I want to welcome the new ships that started since September 1, and that includes 13 in Natchez Trace, 9339 in Northern Star, 25 in Western LA, 623 in Indian Nations, that's Muskogee, Oklahoma, 1835 in Lubbock at South Plains Council, and 1935 in Heart of New England. Welcome, folks. I'm going to talk a little bit about recharter status. Just a little background. In years past, it was really tough to tell where ships and units were in the process of recharter. We used to either say they were rechartered or you're not rechartered, and it was really tough to kind of give any kind of finer granularity. Well, now we have over the last couple of years, we've gotten a bit more information on where units are at, and I'll share a little bit of that tonight. The states are just kind of the summary. Renewal not started. It just means haven't even initiated the process. Initiated means you've at least logged in once, waiting for signature. That means the package is submitted, but needs approval of the COR or any of the key three. On hold means that it's submitted, it's approved, at least by the volunteers, but it still has waiting on either council to process, or they have processed and has some errors. And that one on hold's a little tricky. Posted means you're done. Basically, it means you've either pre-posted or posted. It means you've gotten all the way through the process and you're just waiting for the for your unit to really expire, and then starting if it's a December recharter, you'll see in January that it moves forward. So here's a view of where we are for the December of the ships that are expiring this month. You can kind of see the numbers on the left. 16 have gotten to what I posted, or they're locked and loaded, ready to go, and I've listed them on the right. Kudos to y'all for getting that done, and a lot in Cascade Pacific and some in Crossroads of the West. Thank you for doing that. 57 are on hold. That means they're, like I said, they're either in the council, they're either waiting to process, or they've processed it, and there might be some issues. And I'll talk about that in the next slide. None are waiting for COR. 91 ships have initiated, and then 97 have not even started. And I'll talk about a little about that. So there is a link. I welcome you to try it. I'll post it after I get done presenting this tiny URL, ship recharter status, where if you don't know the status of where you are, you can go there and see it. So call to action. I'll just so if your renewal, if you haven't started, I implore you, go in now and go into advancements, scouting.org, log in and get started. Initiate that recharter. And that way we can see that you're actually moving the needle on the recharter process. It is, here it is, middle of December. Time is running short, so please take some initiative, get that going, finish up with your members, and aim to be done by the middle of next month. If you're initiated, then you're a little farther down the path. Finish up and get that done by the end of the year. If you're waiting on COR, currently nobody's in that state. And if you're on hold and you've been on hold for a while, or you submitted to recharter, 3 or 4 weeks ago, check with your council rep. That's usually a district executive, and just see where you're at. You might have some issues, and they can help you with that. If some of you leaders are not sure you're going to recharter, well, and there's a lot of reasons why that doesn't happen. Not enough scouts, not enough leaders, skippers done, charter org issues, key 3, money, whatever. There's always, there's no end to the number of reasons. But if you're not sure, then what do you do? Well, don't give up the ship. This is my motto as the membership lead. Don't give up the ship. Recharter time is the absolute worst time to make a unit level decision about continuing or not continuing. It's like having your house catch on fire and you wait for all the rooms to catch on fire before you call the fire department. It's too late to do much about it at that point. I implore you, get through the recharter process, work through the issues. If you need help, talk to Commissioner Core and your council Commodore, and the membership team. We're here to help. This is what we do. We help connect people, and whether it's a leadership change or a new scouts or whatever we need. We're also working with the National Quarterdeck to get help where needed. Here's the roster for the membership team. Look at this. I guess the easiest to look at is the state. If you're in the state and there's somebody here that can help you, jot down the email. Also, I think we'll be sharing some of this information post meeting, so you can see it there as well. And then again, don't give up the ship. That's my motto. Recruit, always recruit, keep growing, keep meeting, keep the ship meeting, keep the scouts meeting. It's the biggest indicator of keeping a ship going. Get on the water, build ships to last. If you don't know how to do that, go to a Sea Badge course, get trained. It's great training. Every ship matters. And then with that, I will turn it back over to you, Sean.
You're on mute, Sean.
Yeah, I gotta fix that. All right. We do have a question. According to the guide to registration, scouts registered in both the ship and crew and troop are to be primary registered in the ship or crew. Is this being enforced in all councils?
It's rarely enforced. In fact, I think I haven't seen a case where it is enforced. It's more of a if you can make it happen, and if you I would say it's not the first thing you should be doing, but it's a good thing to try to get as many scouts to be primary. It does take cooperation with the troop committee, and in this case, a crew committee, to see who should run the primary. But it is in the rules and regulations from published by BSA. It's certainly I mentioned that in the last roundtable, and there's information out there. I can certainly post a link on where those rules and regulations exist. And so, but it's a collaborative effort, and I work with your troop and crew committees to make sure there's not any fighting. And if there's any fighting, just don't go there. It's not that important.
All right. Steven Stevens said that there's really 7 ships waiting on Key 3 approval. That was
Okay.
The questions there. All right, that looks like that's it for questions right now. Thank you. All right, up next we have Bruce Johnson to talk about safety at sea.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me just get the right screen sharing and think there we are. Okay, I'm going to get that one up. There we go. Okay, good evening. I have a tiny URL in the chat that I'll ask that people copy or click on. All of the URLs that you're going to see during this presentation are in that document. So good evening, everyone. The Aux Scout team has done a presentation on how to put on a safety at sea event. We're going to talk this evening very quickly about what is a safety at sea event. It is a seamanship and boating safety training event for Sea Scouts. It focuses on hands-on experiences and tries to make everything fun, offers topics that can be easily taught that can't be easily taught in the ship, or sometimes can't. If possible, provide opportunities to get wet. Experience shows that that's really something popular among the Scouts, and provide exposure to boating safety experts who can introduce Sea Scouts to advanced skills. What is safety at sea? Well, it's career education and guidance, and it can introduce Sea Scouts to maritime careers, Coast Guard careers, and involvement in the Coast Guard Auxiliary and other organizations. It can focus on rank advancement, provide assistance for that, and provide on-water activity and training. Where is Safety at Sea held? Well, the oldest Safety at Sea event is held every year at Yerba Buena Island by Coast Guard Sector San Francisco. It's also held every year at the Curtis Bay Coast Guard Yard in Baltimore by Coast Guard Sector Maryland National Capital Region. And there are other safeties at sea that are held in a variety of locations. Galveston has it frequently. New York City, Ohio, Seattle, Virginia, and other locations. Who puts it on? Well, Safety at Sea can be put on by anyone. Most of them are generally put on by Coast Guard sectors or Coast Guard auxiliary divisions. Other potential partners are the U.S. Power Squadrons, who I know help out with the Safety at Sea in Seattle, the American Canoe Association, State Boating Safety Agency. It's even possible for one or more councils to collaborate to put on a Safety at Sea event. How is it structured? Well, remember that the event must be hosted by a Scout Council. Remember what the NCAP standards say about that. Identify a lead organization and an event location. Decide whether it will be a single day or a weekend event. And it's held both ways around the country. There are advantages and disadvantages to either single day or weekend event. And it's very important to recruit a core organizing team that will be responsible for pulling together the resources and logistics to make things happen. And this is a key. Make sure that you include Sea Scouts on that team, because it's very important that we structure this event in a way that the Scouts would like to see it happen. So what is Safety at Sea? Actually, I think we've already seen this slide, so let's go on. What I've done is I've put together slides of a variety of different activities that go on at Safety at Sea. The event that we put on in Maryland, we don't do the same thing each year. We try to switch up at least a third of the activities each year to make sure that it's worthwhile for scouts to keep on coming back. So I'm going to show you very quickly a number of different activities that are a part of Safety at Sea. And these photographs come from events in California, Texas, Ohio, and Maryland. Oh, and also in Maine. They're disproportionately from Maryland, but there are a lot of photos from other places. So Helo Ops, getting the Coast Guard to demonstrate their rescue helicopters and giving the scouts an opportunity to talk to the air crews. Firefighting underway. Fire hose tug of war. Now this may look, how is this a skill? Well, it's teaching the scouts how to use a fire hose safely, and this is a lot of fun. People get very wet. What they're doing here is they're pushing a fender across the line, and it's really not a tug of war, but the goal is to teach the scouts how to use a fire hose. Here's a P6 pump. This is from the Safety at Sea a couple of years ago in Ohio. This is a dewatering pump that you'll find on most response boats that the Coast Guard has. And they're having a lot of fun using this, and as you can see, getting very wet. Docking is another possible activity. Man overboard seems to be one that is used in quite a few of the Safety at Sea events. Flares and emergency signals. The time to learn how to use flares is not when you're in an emergency. It's to try them out under controlled situation. We get Coast Guard Master at Arms to teach this, and we work to make sure that it's very safe. Here are Mustangs or survival suits. This is extremely popular at our Safety at Sea in Maryland. This was not a staged shot. This is the reaction that the scout had to this. Survival craft. I see that the Safety at Sea in San Francisco does this on a regular basis. Bosun's chairlift. I know this isn't really a safety skill, but it's a regatta skill, and this is an opportunity to teach it, not going at breakneck speed, but just to teach the scouts how to do it safely. Heaving line. These photographs are from the Galveston event, and here's the same event in Maryland. First aid underway. We tried this one for the first time this year and got some interesting reactions to it. Hypothermia training. This young man is trying to assemble some piping in a bucket full of ice, and he is not having, you can tell how he feels about it. Paddlecraft safety. This has been a very popular activity at our Safety at Sea in Maryland. And all of the training is done on land and exposing the scouts to how to use kayaks safely. Damage control. Wherever you can get access to a damage control trainer, this is possibly the most popular activity. What's happening is as the scouts are patching one leak, another one is springing up. The coasties who were running this activity thought that they could get enough water pressure by just using the column on the left here, but they found they had to attach it to a fire hydrant to get enough pressure. And by the time these guys are done with this event, they are totally soaked. As you can tell, the cameraman was too. So I'll move on from there. Coast Guard vessel tours. These are also very popular. This is a buoy tender in Baltimore. Some of you probably recognize this ship. Some of our Sea Scouts train on this every year. This is a response boat small, or RBS, and they're getting an opportunity to see what's going on there. Coast Guard careers, including the Coast Guard Auxiliary and the Coast Guard Academy. This is an opening ceremony. Welcome aboard. We get this every year at the Coast Guard Yard. They announce our arrival, and it gets good press coverage. So this was the URL that I was talking about a little bit earlier. So I'd encourage you to copy that or click that link. There is a really good 1-hour video on how to put these things on, put on by PJ O'Neill, who has been in charge of the auxiliary involvement at the Maryland event for a number of years. So a lot of good guidance. And while I have your undivided attention, I just wanted to mention that applications for the Eagle Summer Cruise and the AIM Week at the Coast Guard Academy will be coming up probably early February. We're going to start sending out information in early January about that. But I just wanted to take this opportunity to alert you that those are coming up very soon. And if you have scouts who are potential candidates for that, encourage them to check it out and apply. So, are there any questions? Well, I would encourage you to consider putting this on in your area. You do not have to go to the Coast Guard to do this. There are some power squadron units that are very capable of putting this on and would be happy to work with you on that. Or there are some other organizations that you might want to approach. This is a great training opportunity, and the Scouts have a lot of fun. So if there are no questions, thank you very much.
Thank you. Up next, we have Josh Gilliland talking about marketing your ship.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you all are enjoying the holidays and getting ready for the adventures ahead, namely recharter and planning program activities. So let's talk about marketing our ship. And the end goal of marketing is recruiting. We are a membership-driven organization, and highlighting the fun that we have, the opportunities that we provide youth, is the key on how we get more members. There are a lot of great ways to market your program. We're going to cover a bunch. I will share the slides afterwards, so you can read them in detail on some of the pointers. Just because I don't cover a marketing best practice doesn't mean that it's not a best practice. There's only so much time in this evening to cover. So first off, there's no magic wand. You're going to end up doing 5 to 10 different marketing activities to promote your ship. But there is never one and done when it comes to marketing. Now, what is marketing? It is the process for creating and communicating a message. And when you think about what we do, it's what's the message of our individual Sea Scout ships? So you have to come up with a set of facts, intellectual arguments, and say, here we are, look at what we're doing. It's fun. The other part here is it shows engagement in the community. Every Sea Scout should be living the S of service, being out in the community, helping out at different activities, and there's many options. My ship helped out at the first little marathon our council organized called the Fun Run. We also did a community booth during summer days. So again, there's all these activities that you can go out and participate in. So let's talk about the marketing toolbox. Some basics. Different age groups like different forms of social media and ways of reading information. You can have a Facebook fan page that's going to be geared towards parents. Ship Instagram account, more so to youth, but also a healthy number of parents. Ship YouTube channel, a lot of teens are there. Activate your pin on beascout.org, list yourself on Google, just for a few. One activity I strongly recommend is look at your council mosaic. Talk to your VP of membership because they get these annually. That allows you to do market analysis. For example, San Mateo, California, Howdy Point has an awesome marina. There are 4 public high schools within 15 minutes of that marina. The population base of those high schools totals to about 5,600 plus students. All of those are prospective Sea Scouts. Knowing that if we're based in San Mateo, here are 4 public schools that we're going to focus our marketing efforts on and making friends with administrators and with teachers so you can engage them and find ways to recruit youth and their parents. A Ship Instagram account can be the hub for managing your social media campaigns because social media is the easiest way to engage a community. Have an account for your ship as a business because that gives you more marketing tools that you can use. That can connect to your Facebook fan page that you can use for creating events and do targeted marketing towards parents as a means of recruiting youth. Same with a YouTube page where you can have AdWords and customize your marketing focus to find new people. Also, update your ship pin. There are steps on and training materials on how to do that, but it's mission critical for people to be able to find you. And you can turn this on for accepting new members, both adults and volunteers. Now, just because somebody applies doesn't mean that they get in. You can say no to someone if they're not a good fit. That said, we're about finding members. Making it easy for people to join is how we survive. And having your pin active is a good one. Adding your ship on Google is also a great practice. And here are steps for how to do that. You can see this in the slides after you download them to see, hey, add yourself on Google. And you can see how a ship can be listed. Notice this is where I grew up. They have their URL listed. They actually have a toll-free number that people can call. And they are very, very advanced with their social media presence. Now, we have lots of material on cscout.org, and you can use the QR code to look this up, where you can have logos, pictures, templates, and other general resources so you can use for marketing your ship, open house activities, and ways to engage your community. Let's talk about knowing our customer. You have 2 key forms of customers to look out for: parents and youth. And how you reach out and contact them is different. I focus on marketing to parents, and that's what we use Facebook targeting for and reaching out. So most parents of teenagers are in the Gen X category right now, means they were born from 61 to 1981. They just want to know the facts. They want the bottom line first. The checklist is all they need, and they're generally driven by email and Facebook. That's their preferred method of communication. You then start looking at people who are going to be high school students, and it's those born after 2002 are the ones who are going to be in high school. So, you're looking at 2006, 2007 for when they were born. One of my scouts said she was born the month the iPhone came out, making me feel old. So they've learned from experience from prior generations. They're very good with technology, and a lot of them use things like Discord and things that Gen Xers and those in the middle age and higher category aren't into. Now, there are policies and procedures for every high school district in the United States. By law, going back to 2006, there has to be policies and procedures that explain how to get flyers into the schools. They all vary across the United States, but they all are very similar in how you submit an article. So here's one from Santa Clara, California, Silicon Valley, and one from Madison, Wisconsin. They are very similar, like they have the same template that's being used. There are other places that vary, but the key is look these up and be familiar with the ones in your community so you know how to get flyers in for activities. So this is Santa Clara. They actually on their website spell out flyer distribution and list how to get materials posted. Others use something called Peach Jar, and that's another way that information can get out from parents. And like in where I am for my ship, they've been super helpful. Like a point of contact at the county Department of Education was like, what high schools do you want us to send your flyer to? That easy. So there are those who say it's impossible, and I say, try, look it up, see what the rules are. And like LA County, super complicated, very weird. Long Beach, California, actually gives you the contact information for the person to send the flyers to by name. So know your community and know what you can and can't do. Here are examples of flyers that we have on cscout.org that can be customized for an open house. And you can put those up in different places like community boards. Don't forget your council newsletters. Also very helpful that if you plan an open house or you do something cool, share the news, because the e-news is always looking for information that they can post. Press releases is also a form. Like my charter org rep owns the local newspaper. Super easy to get stuff in, but here are the basics for having a press release. You need to have your elevator pitch about what you need posted. If it's an open house or you just did something cool and you want to say, this is where we went for our long cruise, leverage that. There are a lot of free papers still in communities. There are online presence, and knowing the ones that you have in your community and they can be listed, do some Google searches and find out what's there. And the points of contact on how to submit them is generally public on where you can send a press release. Like you say, you have a quartermaster, you want the world to know, look it up for the community that you're in. There are also paid services. Event is one that I've used a few times that goes out to, in our neighborhood, 49 different publications, gets thousands of views, can be helpful. Other times when it hasn't worked. It's very weird with how some strategies work once, they don't work the next time, but they work the third time. Also, one way to leverage technology for an open house is to have a Google form for sign up. Actually put down what high schools you expect people to be coming from. Of course, you can list other, but it's good to know what age range are we getting? What groups are we getting? So again, what cohorts are you looking at? Other tips on Instagram marketing. Yes, you can target on Instagram. They've had some rule changes after some problems at Meta, but there's marketing opportunities still. Same with Facebook. This goes into more detail on how to geofence on Facebook. There are recorded webinars from the BSA and Sea Scouts BSA on how to use this. And finally, what a Facebook ad could look like and how you can target it to demographics in your community for parents with teenagers, and look up, what do people go to? Parents frequently go to Target for back to school shopping. They might target Starbucks because parents are going to get coffee. So again, think in those terms. Also, if a high school's across the street from a coffee shop, post a flyer there. One high school in Long Beach, it's across the street from a high school with 5,000 students, and made getting coffee difficult because there was about 200 teenagers getting coffee at the same time. Leverage the community resources that you have and understand where you live and who you can contact. Finally, ask parents to share information on Facebook and Nextdoor. and leverage Nextdoor. Nextdoor is very popular in many communities. Again, it can vary upon geography, that there are other states where it might not be popular, but it's popular in many places. So leverage that tool. Also, again, think about those flyers and where to post them. And if you want more information, visit cscout.org. And right now in the chat box, I'm going to paste in the download link for these slides so you can have those. And if there's any questions, please type them into chat.
Actually,
I do have a comment. Somebody said that they assisted in open houses for new ships, toured USCG vessels and air station, and spent weekends aboard a salvage chief, a historic salvage vessel. We just celebrated our first anniversary, participated in local parades, adopted 2 miles of US Highway 101, and will expose students of another city's high school to Sea Scouts in support of our new ship. We're coordinating paddlecraft training provided by Washington State Parks Commission to 3 local high schools in the fall of next year.
That's fantastic. Again, keep up that good work. For example, when we did a bunch of marketing this summer for an open house, the mayor took notice of our marketing efforts. And so my charter org rep emailed me with a note from the mayor wanting to get in contact. Was a little nervous, but the mayor's an Eagle Scout and wanted to have one of our scouts say the Pledge of Allegiance at a city council meeting, which we did. So again, finding those ways to engage the community and just be there, be present, be helpful. That's how people remember us. That's how people see us as the heroes in the story, and they want to support us that way. And it's a great way to get new members.
Awesome, thank you. It doesn't look like there's any other questions at this time. For the group though, somebody did ask, when will the Sea Scout manual be updated? Does anybody have an answer for that?
Currently being worked on, and it's in the review stage. I'm not sure exactly when publications plan to be, but they're in the final stages now.
All right, awesome. Thank you. All right, up next we have Cassie Johnson talking about introduction to underwater leader skills training and advanced underwater leader skills training.
Hello, my friends. I feel kind of unprepared. I didn't give you any fancy pants slides tonight, but I'll just share a little bit of information with you. Several years ago, when our main focus began to be starting new ships, we realized that there was kind of a hole. We wanted to start a lot of new ships, but we weren't giving new leaders information in their hands that they could immediately implement with young people. So we put together, our first course was Introduction to On-Water Leader Skills, IALS for short. And basically it's the nuts and bolts of how to acquire and teach the skills necessary for young people to advance at least to ordinary. It's organized in a weekend format. And I need to tell you, I'm sorry, Peter, my paper just shuffled. I need to tell you that it's not for everybody. It's for brand new units. When somebody comes into your council and they have a new ship, buddy up with them, take them to the water, take them, show them where West Marine is or REI, introduce them to their resources. There's a syllabus that can be found at cscout.org under resources and training. You don't have to have any prerequisites to teach the course. If you've got a new ship coming in with new adults that need some training, you'll find the ANSI standards there for sailcraft, paddlecraft, and power vessels. And you'll also, the best thing that's there, you'll find lesson plans for all the apprentice and ordinary skills that can be taught in a classroom. There'll be a lesson plan and a slide deck and a slide script. So for a person that's not familiar with the program, they can be teaching the program while they're learning the program. It's one of the best. My ship's been around for 30 some odd years, and the kids have found this resource on seascout.org, and they regularly raid those lesson plans so they don't have to think as hard when they're developing the programs that they're going to teach. And I haven't seen one verbatim yet that the kids have developed, because they put their own pictures in and their own inside jokes, and they giggle, but they're teaching good, rock solid material, accurate material. It's one of the few courses in Boy Scouts of America that will not say you have to follow this syllabus verbatim. It should be tailored to the needs of that new unit, those new unit leaders. So after we wrote that one, we realized that after you've been a ship for a couple of years, the kids are kind of running everything in the meetings, but maybe you haven't turned loose the helm of the vessel yet. So we put together another course called Advanced On-Water Leader Skills that really is, how do you step back and let the kids take care of all the evolutions of the vessel, regardless of what the vessel is. So once again, the two courses can be tailored and should be tailored to meet the needs of the people that you're working with. It's not sailboat only or power vessel only. It's whatever the need is of that new unit. And that's about all I have to say about it, fellas.
All right. Thank you.
Certainly.
Let's see here. Yeah, I don't see any the questions. Looks like everything was answered. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Looks like up next we have Jim Deeker to talk about Sea Badge.
Whoops. I think I had it up and then lost it. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Let's talk about the state of Sea Badge. First, I'd like to cover what happened in 2023. We actually had 5 courses this year, and we returned back to in-person courses. We actually had 4 in-person courses this year, which I think is great. Now, that's not to say that in the future all courses will be in person. I think we will have a mix of in-person courses and virtual courses throughout the years. But we had a total of 5 courses. The first one happened in January at Camp Flaming Arrow in Florida. They had 15 participants in that course. They originally had 20 participants, and 5 dropped out the week of the course. So that was kind of disheartening. But they did graduate 15. The next course was a virtual course. I think it was the will hold the record for a long time of having the most participants. That happened in February over the course of 2 weekends. Sea Badge 69 Hawaii had a total of 78 participants in that course. Exciting thing happened this year is we had the very first Sea Badge course in Spanish in Puerto Rico. And there was 35 very enthusiastic participants in that course. And they're already looking at scheduling another course in Puerto Rico, probably next year in 2024. Another very exciting thing that happened this year is we had an in-person course at the summit with a total of 22 participants. And that was the very first sea scouting activity held at solely sea scouting activity held at the summit. The summit loved having us. They are looking forward to having us back, and steps are underway to return to the summit next fall for yet another Sea Badge course. And then the final course of the year was an in-person course at Lost Pine Scout Reservation in Texas, where they had 29 participants, I believe, complete the course. And I read the evaluations, and that also was a very successful course. So I think in review, 2023 was a very successful year for CBadge, with a total of 179 participants receiving the benefits of CBadge training. For next year, we have 2 confirmed courses at this point. That is CBadge 74 New York, which is a virtual course that'll be on Zoom. Sean's been doing double duty tonight on Zoom. Was actually hosting a pre-course crew meeting for that course tonight as he was gearing up our Sea Scout Roundtable. So that one is actually underway. If we don't have any dropouts before the course, we will have a total of 64 participants in that course starting at the end of January. We also have a course being hosted by Western LA Council. Course director for that is Jacques Biard. And that'll be in April of this year. That will also be by Zoom. I'm not currently apprised as to what the total number of participants are in that course. As I mentioned previously, I am expecting additional courses for next year in 2024. I think at this point, I'm just waiting for some requests for authorization. But I think at this point, they're all going to have to be whatever additional courses we have will have to be in the fall, because there just isn't enough time to get things up, running, and marketed for those courses in the spring. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I put my email there. If you have any questions, if you need to send me a request for authorization, that's the email to send it to. Actually, there's a better one that is on the form for requests for authorization, which can all be found at cscout.org under the CBadge page, which is found under adult training. Are there any questions?
We have one that says they're asking, how does one become a member of a staff?
Typically, you are asked by the course director. So if you know an upcoming course director, you should approach him or her and ask if you could possibly be of assistance with that CBadge course. But the courses or the staffs are actually picked by the individual course directors of the individual courses.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions. All right, up next, we have our BSA safety moment.
Robert Baden-Powell once said the definition of the Scout motto, "Be prepared," is to think out and practice how to act on any accident or emergency so that he is never taken by surprise. We need to be aware of our surroundings and their changing conditions, including what is happening with the weather. Severe weather hazards such as tornadoes, lightning, hail, flash flooding, and downbursts can be dangerous. Each requires a basic understanding of what to do so that you can protect yourself and your scouts. Weather conditions can seem daunting, ranging from high heat with no humidity to torrential downpours with possible flooding. However, some key basic principles can help everyone prepare. Here are a few for you to consider. Know the weather forecast before you set out on your trip and prepare for the types of weather hazards that are associated with your destination, such as tornadoes, lightning, snow, torrential rains, and high winds. Double-check weather conditions immediately upon arrival to verify forecasts. The weather can be integral in becoming lost or injured. If visibility becomes limited, Respond quickly to gather the scouts in your care and be sure you know where the designated emergency shelters in the area are located. The BSA's online weather hazards training, available through my.scouting.org, is a great resource in this area and should be renewed every 2 years. You may never encounter a severe weather hazard, but by learning and following these key principles, you can move forward with confidence and provide every opportunity for your scouts to participate in Baden-Powell's outdoor laboratory. Find more tips and resources on weather safety and other safety moments on the Scouting Safely website.
Thank you. Somebody had posted a random question. They were asking about the regional qualifiers for the Co-Cup. They haven't heard anything about since COVID. Is that still a thing?
The Co-Cup is no longer a program that we sponsor or host or support. And since it wasn't sponsored by a local council prior to the reorganization of BSA. So at the present time, Co-Cup is not an existing program. However, I would encourage multi-councils and councils to host their own regattas as a substitute for a national sponsored sailing competition program.
All right, thank you. We do have somebody raising their hand, Josh Henson. Let's see what. All right. Let's see. All right. Next, we have our Commodore Minute with Ben Farrell.
Hey, good evening, shipmates, and thanks for joining us for our last quarterly National Roundtable for the year. And I want to start by welcoming our new Sea Scout ships that joined the program since January of this year. And Tom Trefny identified some of these ships, and we want to welcome you to our great and exciting program. I also want to thank Bruce Johnson about his presentation regarding safety at sea. And this year we had two clear examples of how Sea Scouts use the skills they acquired in safety at sea to handle real world, real life emergencies. In one situation in Texas, a Sea Scout who attended safety at sea in October learned how to use a fire extinguisher and was able to battle a fire in his backyard during New Year's Eve. And that young Sea Scout, for his efforts, received the Medal of Merit. And this past June, a Sea Scout ship, two Sea Scout ships that were in a combined lawn cruise in the Washington State encountered a burning boat. And what they learned in safety at sea enabled these young Sea Scouts to help put out that fire and thereby avert a catastrophic environmental catastrophe up in the Northwest. And I should note that the passengers and the owner of the boat were evacuated prior to the Sea Scouts arriving in the scene. So yeah, you never know what you're going to encounter while out in the water. And if you have an opportunity to attend a safety at sea event, go ahead and do it. Take advantage of training and at the same time have fun and some fellowship. Speaking of some training, Cassie and Jim Diekert did a great job in talking about some of the training opportunities that are being planned for the upcoming year, and especially for our new Sea Scout leaders to take advantage of a Sea Badge, either the virtual courses that are being offered in the early part of the year or the in-person courses later in the year. Anyway, you can get some of the Sea Scout leadership training would benefit your ship and provide you with the necessary tools to help promote this great youth led program. There's also for our youth members, the National Sea Scout Academy early in the winter. I think around maybe spring break or winter break, and that's a great opportunity for your Sea Scouts to get some information on rank advancement and to work on their rank advancement requirements. Before I get inundated with a lot of questions regarding SEAL, the update is that we're making efforts to reach out again to our national leaders to reinstitute the program. I have submitted a point paper to our national BSA leaders petitioning to have the program be brought back online. My hope is that I, myself, and other members of the national committee will meet with our national BSA leaders to discuss this. And so hopefully by early spring, we'll have an answer for all hands regarding SEAL. And not to belabor it, but there's been a lot of talk about working with our Coast Guard Auxiliary and Power Squadron partners. If you have an opportunity to work with these fine, dedicated volunteers, I would encourage you to do so. They provide a wealth of knowledge and resources to enhance your ship's program. And it's a great opportunity also for them to be involved in our great program. And but in addition to planning and participating and getting involved in a lot of Sea Scout events, please don't forget about your council and district events, such as Camp Rees, Klondike Derby, recruiting events, awards presentations, such as your district awards events, as well as roundtables. The more that you get involved in your council and district events, you're showcasing the Sea Scout program. You're letting older youth in Scouts BSA units know that there are other alternatives that they can participate in and have fun with peers and to be challenged in working on Sea Scout advancement as well as learning nautical skills. Couple of final remarks. First of all, I want to thank all of our youth and adult leaders at all levels, at the council, at the NST, and certainly at the national level for your dedication and hard work this past year in making the Sea Scout program a success at the local council level and in some of the national programs that we support, such as the Coast Guard sponsored Bark Eagle and the AIM program at the Academy. Our volunteers dedicate a large amount of time and effort in making sure that our youth leaders are having fun, that they're given opportunities to lead their peers and to promote an outstanding program. So I want to thank you for all of your dedication and hard work. And I have no doubt that 2024 will be an equally successful year for the Sea Scouting program. And as Tom Trefny mentioned, one way of making sure that the fun continues in the Sea Scout program is recruiting new members. I would ask that each of our youth members recruit a friend and introduce them to our fantastic and exciting program. And finally, I want to wish everybody happy holidays and a Merry Christmas. Have a safe one. And thank you again for participating in tonight's program. So with that, are there any questions that I could possibly answer?
Somebody did ask about the availability of the train patch.
I believe the train patch is
Scout stuff.
Scout stuff, yeah. I mean, it's on the Scout stuff online Scout Supply website.
It shows out of stock there, I think is what the source of the question.
Ah, okay. Well, that's another opportunity for a very dedicated committee member to weigh in. So, okay. It's kind of nice to hear that the train strip is out of stock. That means that we're getting a lot of train leaders. But on the other hand, we need to make sure that that particular item is restocked. So, okay. Okay. Anything else?
No, that looks like that's it's the only questions I've seen come across. I mean, the only question I have is, we watched the game this weekend, and I'm sorry.
That was a fantastic game.
Yes, it was.
Obviously, Army did a great job, but there's always next year.
There sure is, for number 3 in a row.
Walking like an Army guy.
Right. All right. Thank you, Ben.
You're welcome.
Up next, we have the National Bosun, Evan, if you want to do your minute.
Yeah, so hello everyone again. So please have your ships consider filling out the Sea Scout social form. Again, that's on seascout.org. I'll send all the links again in the chat after I finish talking. It's a great opportunity to network and learn, and make new friends with other shipmates. Same with the National Virtual Sea Scout Academy, which is late January to early February during that week. The registration link for that is live and you can sign up, and I'll send that again at the end. I hope to see some of you guys at Winterfest and at other events throughout the year. Really excited for that. The National Quarterdeck and I have been doing our best to support and promote local events and help grow the program. We loved watching ships work on festive activities throughout the month, and we look forward to 2024. Other than that, happy holidays to everyone, and good night.
One thing, Evan or Sean, do we have any latest information on NOAC in Colorado or New Mexico? I can't remember where it's being held.
Colorado, yeah, that Boulder. I am not tracking anything new on it.
So for any of our Sea Scouts who are also members of the Order of the Arrow, the number of Sea Scouts who've been attending the National Order of the Arrow conference has been increasing, and we have a dedicated scout by the name of Tom McMullen, who is heading up our exhibit booth, and he's also looking for staff. But Evan, do you have any latest information on that?
Yeah, I'm just pulling up exactly what he had. Basically, I think the essence of it is if you want to staff NOAC as a Sea Scout, under the qualifications box, yeah, okay, I just pulled it up now. Yeah, so if you want to sign up for NOAC staff to staff the Sea Scout booth at NOAC, when you're signing up through NOAARS online, you can select Adventure Central or Adventure Central and the Adventure Expo options for which staff area you want to staff. And under the qualifications box, you basically put the Sea Scout exhibit booth. And that should be enough to get you signed up for the event as to help staff the Sea Scout booth.
Okay, if you can post a link on chat before we sign off, that might be helpful. So
Will do.
Another question somebody had asked was how is the best way to get a council to have a Commodore position?
I think it's coming from the executive board and asking the council president to appoint one. The power with the council is generally with the board, and if the council executive board sees value in Sea Scouts, it's easier to get an appointment made. That could either go through the council nominating committee. Different forms can happen in different places, like the VP of program might be responsible for it, but generally making friends with executive board members and specifically the president is a good way to get a council Commodore appointed.
All right, thank you. Any word on the skipper's manual?
That's a good question. We've been concentrating on the Sea Scout manual and developing a Council Commodore SOP/handbook. And there has been no discussion about a skipper's manual. I think the one I have here was first published in
39 by William
39.
Menninger.
Yep.
Good book.
It's
a very good book.
And part of the challenge in writing publications is that our committee, like every other committee in the BSA, is that we have to work at the speed of volunteers. If anyone is interested in wanting to develop a skipper's manual, I'm all ears, and you can, let me know. And that's something also that we'll have to talk about at the National Sea Scout Committee level, in terms of putting one together. So.
All right. Looks like all the other questions are being answered.
I see a
TW
question there from Joyce on recharge being held up by multiples. We can't recharge a member that is multiple till the primary troop recharge. Do we drop and re-add? I would wait. It's a little early to be it's a little extreme, because then that scout will have to submit paperwork again, which is a real a hassle, inconvenience for them. I would wait a bit. If it gets close to if this is a December recharter ship, then I would definitely give it through January to get them that troop time to get rechartered. And if it starts getting into too late into February, then I would just go forward, like you said. But I'd give it a little time that council work through the troops and work through the some of those dependent units.
All right, thank you. TW, did you have anything you'd like to add?
Not too much. Tom already covered the recharter situation, which is obviously the most important thing. I will point out for anyone that's interested that during the Commissioner Week at Philmont Training Center this summer, there will be a track for people working with older scout units. So whether that's Sea Scouts venturing or exploring, about half of that will be the common challenges that we face among us, and about half of it will be program-specific breakouts. So people in Council Commodore roles would probably find that useful, as would anyone on the Commissioner side that is assisting or involved with older Scout units, including Sea Scout ships. If you need that, Philmont Training Center side, it's on the Philmont website. Registration is just open for the summer, so you can sign up now if you like.
Awesome, thank you. Somebody else had asked, it said, in addition to the skipper's manual, can we look at refreshing our Sea Scout basic leader training? Our stuff is from 2015 and dated.
We've got people looking at that. Well, right now it's held up by Scouting U. We've got a person that will rebuild all of the units at no cost for BSA, but we can't get Scouting U to approve our going forward.
All right, thank you.
We'll have to reapproach Scouting U on that for you, Cassie.
It's going to have to be a big burly guy that growls, because they're not listening to me.
Ben's got this.
All right.
Well,
I know.
Well, I've been firing off my silver bullets with these guys as fast as I can reload them. So, okay.
All right. Not seeing any other questions come across here. All right. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, Cassie, I do know that Wendy Curtin, who's also heading up the National Annual Meeting Conference, is also just taken on the additional duties as the head of Scouting U. And she and I have already developed a email relationship, so I may just add these other issues on her plate. So.
I can vouch that Wendy's awesome. She's a fan of Sea Scout. She got one of her kids involved, if I remember right, from my Western region days. And I would suggest a phone call. And I'm also happy to reach out because she's good. She's a very good person.
Yeah. Well, right now she owes me at least 3 phone calls. So that's how I've been trying to reach out to her. But yeah, well, thanks, Josh. I may have to have you maybe next week have to work it from the other angle so we can, surround and overcome. So, but I'm more to follow up. Okay.
All right. All right. Looks like that's everything. Our next planned roundtable will be March 21st. Looks like that will be the day. That could change, but that's the 3 months for next.
Just in time for March Madness.
Right. All right. So with that being said, that's it for tonight, and I'd like to thank everybody for attending. And thanks to all the presenters for coming on and giving presentations, phenomenal presentations. Other than that, that's it. Stay warm. If you're in the South, well, I wish I was there.